So, welcome everyone. My name is Anne Siskos, and I will be your host today for our IHN guest speaker series. I am a student counselor at IHN, and I'm also a program advisor. And our format for today will be as follows. First, I'll introduce to you our speaker, Kelly Carter. Then she'll do her presentation. It's about 40 minutes long or so. And then we'll have plenty of time for Q&A at the end. If you think of questions along the way, feel free to put them in the Q&A box or save it to the end. Both of those work, and I'll look through them towards the end. Finally, after all of that, I'll announce the winner of our draw. Now, about Kelly. I'm very pleased today to introduce you to Kelly Carter, with the topic Startups, Strategy, and Real Talk from Nutritionist to C-Suite. All attendees today will be receiving a Startup Toolkit PDF to help them stay organized, avoid common mistakes, and move forward with confidence. This PDF will be sent directly to you when you get the webinar replay. Now, about Kelly. Kelly Carter is a CNP, Certified Nutrition Practitioner, Executive Coach, and Chief Success Officer of RenewRx, which is a maternal health platform that combines personal coaching, remote monitoring, and behavioral change to support high-risk pregnancies. Kelly is known for her ability to make complex nutrition simple and actionable. Kelly brings over a decade of experience in clinical nutrition, entrepreneurship, and digital health innovation, and is passionate about empowering practitioners to build businesses that are profitable, purpose-driven, and aligned with their values. Kelly, a very big welcome to you. I now pass it over to you.
Thank you so much. I'm so excited to be here today and to chat with all of you, especially please let me know any questions that you have. I'm going to be talking for about 40 minutes, then hopefully we'll have about 20 minutes for questions at the end. And I was just talking about how I was a graduate of IHN over a decade ago now. And for me, it's incredible to be back here speaking and really kind of reminiscing on how IHN really shaped my career and where I am today. So I have a little agenda. We're going to start off with who I am and my journey from going from a nutrition practitioner to co-founding and the Chief Success Officer of RenewRx. It really has to do with a lot of mindset shifts from being that practitioner to entrepreneur, which we'll go through. I will talk about how do you launch on a budget and truly avoid burnout, balancing that one-on-one consultations with a scalable offer for your revenue, what investors, collaborators, and clients truly care about if you are going to go to the investor route and become a really large business. And then I like to go behind the scenes of what's happened specifically with me and my business, the wins, the lessons, and the pivots that have been made. And then finally, I'm going to give you some practical next steps that you can do starting today. So for me, my name is Kelly Carter. I am a certified nutritional practitioner, executive wellness coach, and now co-founder and CSO of RenewRx. I have been published several times in different publications, but really what's truly where my story truly started was the University of Guelph. I went for applied human nutrition, and there were two paths I could take after graduating. One was dietetics, and after doing work at the hospital and shadowing what a dietitian does, I was, for lack of better words, scared and uninspired by what that path could look like for me. I felt like there was so much more that I could do for someone before they got to the place of like being in a hospital, or just like what a very typical, for what I was saying, dietitian patient looked like. And I remember I was watching a documentary in my room. It was called Hungry for Change. And that shifted so much for me because it showed me that there are schools out there that really focus on preventative health and, how do you really empower someone to want to change? And that's how I found IHN. And I remember it was even before I graduated IHN, I was already working for a wellness clinic where I learned so much about like creating a health program and delivering it. And then I went on to work at a health club where I started one-on-ones, like truly very early, my consultations, and I got up to like 120 clients per week, which drove me to burnout. And then I decided to start my own business for more autonomy. And honestly, throughout this whole time, I got married, I bought a house, I got pregnant with my first, I bought another house, I got pregnant with my second. And when I got pregnant with my second, a month or two before she was born, I was connected with this incredible woman, Carrie Cow, who is now my business partner and has made, like, that's how I've become the co-founder and CSO of RenewRx, which is there you go. So RenewRx is a women's health platform, and we work along the side of medical providers and support these women from the moment that they get their plan from their doctor to the moment of ultimate health. And we've been able to make this fully reimbursable by insurance. So it's become this incredible journey from graduating from IHN to running a multi-million-dollar business that I want to share with you truly how that happened. So in 2015, that's when I really started working as a nutritional practitioner with my one-on-ones. At first, I was noticing that my retention rate was really low, and basically only about 20% of my clients would really stick to the plans that I was giving them. And, I was fresh out of school. These plans were really detailed. I was feeling like I was doing everything. And for only around 20% of people to come back, a month later and say that they've been successful, it was really challenging for me to, think, am I actually making an impact? Because, I went into this because I was so passionate about it. That is when I truly started focusing on behavior change. And that's when that coaching began. And that changed everything for me. So I was working at this health club, and I had paired my nutrition coaching with my behavior change coaching, and then momentum grew. But so did the hours. So I was seeing about 120 clients a week, and I was checking in on them almost every day. I was working 70 hours a week. It was so unattainable, unsustainable, very misaligned. I was not able to give anyone the quality of care that I wanted to. And it really made me feel, again, like I'd failed. However, I had a really great mentor at the time, and every failure, you always take something. What did you learn from it? So early on, my offers were like, I had two offers. I had a one-on-one offer and I had a group offer. And this one-on-one was about $50 for a 30-minute session. But as we know as practitioners, the $50 doesn't just go into the 30 minutes. It goes into the time that you spend before prepping. It goes into time after, and potentially even a lot of time after if you're following up with your clients. So it was a very low price for what I was charging and the time I was giving. And then when I did the group program, that's when I saw, oh, this is what like scalability could really look like. with word of mouth, simple systems, and then consistent check-ins, I moved from month to month contracts to selling 1 year contracts. And my retention rate went up to like 88%. I was hitting 30K a month in revenue. And that's when I truly realized like I had beat that hustle and really figured out a very like incredible system to take my energy and put it into a place where it can actually grow. So I truly had to shift from an employee mindset to the entrepreneur mindset. And what I mean from there is with like being an employee, you work a certain amount of hours, you have a scope, and there always seems to be this ceiling. And there always, especially where I used to work, there was always like this blame put on other people. Well, it's not my fault. It's like my boss's fault. And just having to work by their rules and their recommendations. So I went from understanding that mindset to an entrepreneur one, which really opened my eyes to seeing how I could truly start helping people in the way that I know is a lot more effective. And I started charging not for my hours, but for the outcomes that, would come out when people were compliant with my program. And that really meant letting go of overthinking everything all the time, not being satisfied with everything being perfect, over customizing. I shaped this one version and then I had a plan for version 2, but I always, when I became a true entrepreneur, it was always making sure that you got that first version out and you let your clients truly help you with the feedback that they have. Build the next version, because when you start building a program based on other people's input, you start building for your clients versus building for what you think your clients want. And that was a game changer for me. But the real, the big mindset shift and unlock that I found was that there was having set office hours, having templates, making sure that my energy was protected, because I'm someone who can work, 18 hours a day and truly forget to eat. That's honestly, when I was dealing with 120 clients a week, I personally got so unhealthy because I wasn't paying attention to myself. And that's when my rule came in. Every day I do 2 things. I serve other people first, and then I serve myself second. But I never forget to serve myself second, because I know what can happen when you don't. And that's when I was able to put in very specific office hours and really incorporate these templates. I was able to serve more people without burning out. And that's when the business truly started to become scalable. So in 2021, I partnered with Carrie, and that's really where the mission of RenewRx was born. My solo practice couldn't bridge the gap between medical plans and daily life. It was still me doing it solo. I could do things fast, but I could not go far. And we built a platform that starts in pregnancy and tackles social factors, home environments, behavior change, because that's really what I found as a practitioner is, people know that vegetables are good for you, but why aren't you eating vegetables? Is it you don't know how to make them taste good? Is it you live an hour away from a grocery store? Is it you never ever grew up really eating vegetables and you are scared of them just because? So there's so much that I've been able to take with this platform. And now that our business is B2B2C, so we get referrals from doctors' offices. And now my once small practice is now this scalable, international business. So but what took it to get there was really that partnership with this incredible person, Carrie. She took on the medical side of things, and we're just continuing to grow. So with RenewRx, you can see how much momentum once like 1 year can truly bring. So we started our first pilot last August. By February, we had 100 clients. And then in March, we got accepted to this incredible accelerator program. It was out of 1,500 companies of the world, we got accepted as one of the best startup med tech and nutrition companies, which was so incredible. And that has really been putting us on fast pace to scale even more. One of the largest clinics in America has taken us on as their standard of care, and that started in July. And then this August, we've raised $1.3 million, and we had our first commercial ever produced in August, which was a couple weeks ago. I would love to share that with you guys to see and, give feedback on what you think of, what I've created. And truly this kind of goes full circle into what do you need in order to expand to these, to actually scale and grow this much. And when you are a practitioner and you have your own practice, I cannot tell you enough how important it is to collect those testimonials, to collect any data that you can to prove that what you're doing is actually changing and moving the needle. Because if you really truly want to scale and really grow your business or who you are as a practitioner, data speaks volumes. So when we ran our pilot, we had 47 moms enrolled. 100% of those moms were able to get into proper glucose range within 1 month of being on our program. And these are moms that have diabetes in pregnancies, which is unbelievable. We're still collecting data, but 34 babies have been born so far. And these babies, the average weight was 7.2 pounds, which is very incredible because usually babies, when you have gestational diabetes, babies can be 10 pounds or more. We didn't get one baby that was 10 pounds or more. And just the satisfaction, 100% satisfaction from all of our patients and providers, 95% or 96% retention rate. And it's just, when you want to scale and when you feel like you have this incredible business that you're starting to create, collect this data now. Start collecting as much as you can and getting these testimonials, because the word of mouth will grow your business faster than you truly ever can. And that actually leads me to, the pricing. So this was a really big shift for me when I started working with RenewRx and building this out. Moving towards an insurance-based, insurance covered plan. I am of the big belief that people should really understand the value of their health and really invest in it. But specifically in America, the health is viewed in a very different lens, and when insurance covers a product, you're able to get buy-in very, very quickly. And what we found though, is we have the pregnancy, when you're pregnant program, and then our postpartum program is paid out of pocket, and 90% of people will pay for a paid out of pocket program. So it almost ended up being a really great tool to show these women the value that they're getting, not out of pocket, and then seeing them wanting to invest in their health in the future is amazing. But that's the access point. We chose the access point of pregnancy because these are when moms and these women are the most connected to their health, the most motivated out of any other population that we could find. And the fact that we could get it covered by insurance made it a lot more easier to sell the product. So today we are a women's health platform. It's starting in pregnancy, and we connect to health devices such as, I don't know if anyone knows what a continuous glucose monitor is, but there's the Freestyle Libre, there's the Dexcom. So we connect, we're an app that you can connect any health device to, and we are the coaching model that really drives the behavior change. And future, we are focusing on incorporating AI into our model so that it isn't so human heavy. What you're going to find is that, especially in corporate and when you're raising money, people really want to make sure that your product is scalable. And if there's a lot of humans involved, it's very challenging. Now, I have one of the best teams that I've ever had in my entire career when it comes to these coaches. And I feel like we can continue to attract just these wonderful women that want to show up and like just be incredible. But that's a very scary thing for investors. So we are moving into more of an AI version so that the human component can still stay there, but it's a lot lighter on the human component versus the AI. So the biggest takeaways from my journey is always be coachable. We got into the med tech innovator, like I was saying earlier. We were one of 64 companies that got in. And one of the biggest reasons we got in was because we were so coachable, and it was so easy to tell that we were. Always listen to people who are smarter than you. Listen to your clients, take that feedback, change and modify what you're doing. And then the second takeaway is don't stop. Keep going. It sounds silly, but when you never, being in IHN over a decade ago, I was really nervous and scared. And, so many people told me there's so much competition and what are you doing? You're not becoming a dietitian. There's no regulatory, there's no government jobs. And in my core being, it was, I don't align with what that other path is. And I truly know that I'm going to make a difference, and I'm not going to stop until I figure out what that is. And I feel like that's how I've gotten, I don't, sometimes I wake up and I'm like, how am I even here? It's because I don't stop. And I really, really encourage and empower all of you to because it's very, very, very challenging to be an entrepreneur and to go through this path of life. And I've never been so rewarded in my life. I've never felt like I was living so much ever in my life. And I would never ever trade it for anything else in the world. So yes, be coachable and don't ever stop what you're doing, and you'll eventually get there. So quite quick, because I do want to make sure that we have time for questions. The mindset shift from practitioner to entrepreneur. So basically, selling outcomes, not hours, is a really, really big shift that changed my entire state. Because when I noticed that my impact on someone, there really isn't a price per hour you can put on that. I found that it's, people still really appreciate the human to human connection. That's why I'm not too afraid of AI yet. My packages are really based off of like monthly interaction, not specifically monthly hours. And, really going to strategy, there's so much about the hustle culture nowadays. And I have been through 2 bouts of burnout. It's not fun. And I don't know if anyone else here has been burnt out before, but when you're burnt out, you can't do anything. You go from doing absolutely way too much to absolutely nothing. So it's a really big hard hit mentally and physically as well. So really, I journal every morning. I put 3 main focuses, and I have a list of 50, 60, 70 things to do, but that list gets smaller eventually. The three things that get done each day are the three most impactful things that are going to move the needle. And it has shifted everything in my business in a positive way. Numbers, like I was saying, are the objective. Please, please, please start tracking your progress, tracking how your clients are improving, getting feedback from them, getting these testimonials. That's going to make you so much more seen in this crazy world. And then we'll talk about this really quickly too. Systems, having really standardized systems is amazing. We were a company with RenewRx. We started off, we had someone on the team who loved tools, and brought on way too many. And it really caused a lot of issues with internally with the company. So standardizing your tools, using it, getting comfortable with it, and seeing how you can reuse it is so important. And then permission to iterate. This is a really great one. Just put it out there. There's no such thing as perfection. And you will lose out on so much if you don't just put something out there. If you fail, amazing. What did you learn from it? What are you going to improve the next time? And failing is never as bad as you truly think it is, especially when you start failing early on. And then just always think how can I make this scalable? If you truly want to make something, your business scalable. I at one point was no, I'm totally okay with this one-on-one stuff. And then I realized I definitely wasn't. So I understand too, we are on a budget every single month that we're a company. We are in the middle of a raise right now. It is so intense. We are scrappy. We use very, the tools that we found, TidyCal, Calendly, Zoom, Google Meet, for scheduling, don't pay, if you don't need to pay for an extra service, don't do it. For a landing site, I personally have used Brizy, Canva, and Notion. They've been super helpful for me. And then just a client workflow for checklists, I leverage Google Docs and Google Sheets all the time. It's part of my Google package. It's easy, it's simple. And especially now that we're growing into this larger company, it's been really easy to transfer all of the work that I've done in the past years over to our new systems that are a little bit more effective. But if anyone wants any other resources or tools to make sure everything happens on a budget, just reach out because I can definitely let you know. And then also, launching on a budget, just keep it simple. No more than 3 offers. Always having the one-on-one as your largest tier, having a group program, and then having some sort of digital service that you can sell without having any interaction from yourself, which is here. So this is how I started. I had my one-on-ones. They were 8 to 12 weeks, and eventually they were 52 weeks. I had my group kickstart, which was a 4 to 6 week program, and then my digital resource. And those 3 offers I did for about 7 years before I really branched out into anything else. The last thing I'm going to talk about is truly how do you protect your energy? You are when you're an entrepreneur, the buck stops at you. So when you are sick or you cannot function, nothing happens. And time blocking was one of the things that saved me. I have a calendar. I have my hours that I work. I have my hours that I spend with my family. And I tend to stick to it probably 75% of the time. On the days that I stick to it 100% of the time, it's great. On the days it's 75, I can definitely tell how much energy it does take from me. I have days I see clients. I have days that I do my C-suite. So basically my operational things. And the time blocking though, taking 10 minutes every morning, looking at what what I have to do for the day, and time blocking has changed. I've become so efficient, and it feels good to be efficient, especially when you're running your own business. There's a million things to do, and you can't do a million things in a day. So the time blocking is massive, and I'm excited. Whoever wins this one-on-one, I'm really excited to walk you through what that looks like. Standardize onboarding and follow-ups. So the more that you can standardize things, the better. Having templates for everything, and again, just ChatGPT or any type of AI to make, like, just to get the first version out, and then just reiterate it as you get your feedback from your clients or from other people that are looking over your stuff. It's a lot of work up front, and it saves you so much time and energy down the road. And then automating. So can you automate these reminders, or can you automate text messages going to your clients throughout the week? That was a huge life-changing thing for me. It's taking like minutes off of my day, but every time I would interact with a client, it takes your energy away from what you were currently doing. So that was super important for me to focus on. So now I'm going to give you guys a little bit of homework. I want you to write down your one thing for the next 30 days from each of these questions. So if you have an established business, this might be a little bit easier, but who will you serve? What outcome will you deliver? How will you deliver it? And what will what will you stop doing to make room for that? And I love that last question because, I don't watch Netflix anymore because I do, like, my day is so packed with work, life, and family that Netflix it's there. I don't know, maybe on a Sunday when I just don't want to do work or something. Like, it's really cool to see how you can be so effective with your day. And I don't want to keep rambling on. I can. This stuff gets me so excited. So I'm going to go now to questions. And do you want me to stop sharing my screen as well?
Okay. Yeah, you know what? I think so. It's a little bit nicer focus there. Wow, Kelly. I mean, I have so many comments and considerations for my own self, but I'm going to go to the Q&A right away. But I just have to say, 32 babies born, all, average 34 at 7 pounds, 2 ounces. So did you say 100% reached their glucose goals?
Yep. Mm-hmm.
That is just incredible. I'm completely blown away by that. Okay, so just for the attendees, I see some questions have come in the chat box. I'll get to those. But if you have more questions, it would be great if you could put them in the Q&A. So there's a chat box and a Q&A. So, but don't worry, I'll get to all of them. Let me just go back to, okay, first question. Where did you take your behavior change coaching, and was it a certain course? So that's one question from this person.
Yeah, I can actually put the link here. It's from U of T. And then I did this course from U of T. Yeah, it's from everyone. And then I am just I feel like we all have superpowers. My superpower definitely is focusing on, really understanding that individual's energy and just having them speak and listening to what they're saying. From all of the teaching that I learned from University of Toronto, but also these other courses that I took, it's just, I'm so intuitive now to having that person just be in their space, that the behavior change part has become so incredibly intuitive now.
Yeah, fantastic. Like, other than the skills we learn as nutritionists and the art of it all, you're developed into that other space too. So incredible. Next question. Did you outsource with marketing materials like a graphic designer or social media manager, someone to help you make forms and templates? And
Forms and templates, no. Social media, we are using interns right now, and we do have a designer. It's actually really, we fell in love with this one person. He's out in India, so he's a little bit like his rate is a lot cheaper than what you would find here. But like if you look at the RenewRx brand, all of those designs are hand drawn from him, and he just really brings our brand like that warmth it needs. And it's really incredible because I would say a lot of women just don't get the love they need and deserve during pregnancy and especially afterwards, like postpartum, especially in the States, where some women still have to go back to work after 6 weeks of having a baby. So we did outsource our graphic designer and we're very happy about that.
okay, thank you. A comment here. I think holistic nutrition is not usually covered under insurance. How did you qualify for coverage? So there's some
Yeah.
nuance there. Yeah.
So we are care management coaches. We do not go by holistic nutrition or nutrition anything because really what we're doing is the coaching piece. And there are certain codes in America where you are an ancillary program. So there's the medical like the medical practitioner, and then there's this clinic support. So basically, we're the clinic support, and what we're doing is coaching, remote patient monitoring, bridging the gap between the doctor telling you to eat healthy and exercise, and actually getting that person to understand what that means for them and actually apply it.
Yeah, okay, thanks. I do believe that some holistic nutrition in Canada is now starting to be covered, but a very little snippet. So we have a lot of work to do in that area.
I used to get covered before this last government came in. I used to get covered, especially with my teacher clients. But I knew that that was cut last time because of this government. But what's been really exciting is what we're working towards is having really being connected to insurance companies because that's how healthcare works. So we are working on establishing relationships with these healthcare companies, these insurance companies. So we work directly with them in order to get the service covered because of the outcomes that we're delivering. Because at the end of the day, if the outcomes are incredible, why are we caring about who's doing what? So yes, we're not going to be we're very educated and everything like that, but it's really incredible to see that people are now noticing the effectiveness of coaching and the outcomes that come from it.
Okay, good. And you've mentioned a number of times taking feedback from your clients.
Yeah.
So collecting that is great.
Mhm.
All right, next question. What was the first thing you focused on when starting your business as a one-to-one coach, a website, a proper business plan, creating your personal brand? How did you start?
I started with the one-on-ones, and I didn't have a website. I was working out of a health club, and it was word of mouth. So what I started with was really working one-on-one with these individuals and gaining this client base. And eventually I opened like my website and things like that. But I that's why I always like to go back to, gather your data, get the feedback, get the testimonials, because people listen to other people who they trust. And that really is what grows a business, not a website that no one knows about. So, not that you shouldn't do it like that, but when you have a really good client base to start, like how are you going to get in front of people? How are you going to gain people's trust? How are you going to become someone who's like known in the industry? Then I would like, because building a website is very simple nowadays. There are ways that you can make it a little bit more complicated, but especially with AI, it can be very simple. I would really focus on how are you going to connect with your clients and how are you going to establish that foundation first.
Okay, great answer. One of your slides, you said launch ugly. improve with feedback.
Mm-hmm.
So that kind of follows along with that advice too, wouldn't you say?
Yes,
Okay.
exactly.
Next question. Somebody has missed the bit at the end about leveraging AI. How can you do that for scaling and standardizing?
So AI is getting pretty incredible. Right now, we're using AI to train our coaches, so to train people more quickly, because I have become a very like I've been doing this for over 10 years. It's come very natural to me. And I've taught this AI to teach someone like I would be a coach. Just those little nuances of, when do you pause? When do you ask the question? Because a lot of coaches can not really coach, if that makes sense. They can just get a lot of, I just remember when I first graduated, all this information, I just like wanted to tell everyone everything. And that was super overwhelming for them. And no one really got much from me, which was really sad. So just really figuring out what that looks like first. And then eventually the AI is going to take over. So anytime anyone asks a question, the AI is going to answer. Um, anytime that there's a certain health metric that pops up, depending on what health data that we have. So right now we have AI tracking for food. We have the CGM. We're going to have blood pressure monitoring. It's going to take all that data and it's going to give it's going to be like a decision support system in and of itself, saying like, this is what you should recommend in order to have better results next time. So really taking away the human like objectiveness. I don't know if AI is ever going to, when AI takes over like the emotional component, that's when it gets scary. I truly don't know if that's ever going to happen.
Okay, that's great. And I think as this whole area evolves, how we use it will evolve too, especially in our nutritionist space. Okay, next question. How did you standardize a group program that appeals to many people but still feels personal for the client? Did your digital program directly relate to the group program offerings?
So with my group programs, I always give out my personal number and I would text everyone and say, hey, if there's anything you're uncomfortable with or you need specific support on, just send me a message. So that's how I really kept it like as um like I guess diverse as possible, but it also felt like very, very like one-on-one. Um, there's about 5% of people that are going to be, you're just kind of obsessed with everything and really asking you questions and things like that. So I'm someone personally who I still give way more than a lot of other people do. And not like in a way that I shouldn't be giving my time like this. I should be like, valuing it a little bit more. But I've always been, that's why I've been so hesitant on scaling my program like we're doing now, because it's like, well, how are they going to get this service? Like in my head, again, being very like hyperbolic, I'm the only person that can do this, and which is so not true. And it's been really cool. We have a team of 6 people now that I'm not even seeing really clients anymore. It's amazing to see my growth, but it's also like, wow, they're just like when you empower people to be in this position, it's so incredible. So in terms of the group perspective, though, I really did love having, just giving them my number. If they had any questions, they could message me. And then throughout the program, you could definitely see a lot of these individuals come together in these little groups because they like did a separate chat, or they saw them at a certain exercise class, because this was all done in a and through the health club. So it was really cool to see that too. It's like, people love community. And I think, especially with the group program, there's 5% that'll be like worship you, and then 5% that will always fall off. That's what someone told me. And when I learned that you can't help people that don't want to be helped, that made it easier for me to move on, because I would take it very hard if I ever had someone who just didn't, join my program or stay with my program.
Okay, thank you for all of that feedback. Here's another one. Hi, great to be part of this. Thanks for the information shared. I'm not a practitioner, however, I'm trying to start a new business. I guess this is for me. You have to be a practitioner to be part of the giveaway, unfortunately. Okay, let's move on to how do we qualify to use CGMs in our practice as CNPs?
You can I was looking into this um about a year ago. You can become, I feel like it's something where you can become a distributor, but that kind of puts a lot of liability on you as like a CNP, so I would not recommend that at all. The really cool thing is in Canada, you can get CGMs over the counter. I you can, and I've been back and forth in the States a lot lately. You can't do that in the States. So it's it's really nice to be in Canada and have that option. The Dexcom is a little, I think the Dexcom is a little bit more pricey, but at Costco, I buy mine for like, I think it's $89 for the CGM. And I buy mine out of pocket because I don't have any glucose issues, but I love wearing it because I can track it. So and this is where it goes back to with my clients, I'm like, you invest in your health. When you understand how your body's working, it's so invaluable to that like $90 that you're spending on the CGM because you won't hesitate to spend $90 when you go to the CNE. It's probably more than $90 now to go to the CNE or something like that. So it's just reframing that, but I don't know how to qualify to use them in practice. I don't know if that's allowed yet. All I know is that you could potentially be a distributor.
Okay, thanks. So, can you clarify where are you based and are you mainly dealing with American or Canadian clientele? Um, and there's another part of this question with functional health and other monitoring apps like yours becoming a large part of preventative health. So, I guess speaking to who your clients are
Yeah.
and how much.
RenewRx is in Denver, Colorado. That's where we're based out of. We are figuring out how to come to Canada because Canada's so different. But I think so they're called value-based contracts when you work with these insurance companies. When you're able to prove that your program is delivering really specific outcomes, like positive outcomes, insurance companies will pay you to because that means that their individual won't be going to the hospital in the next like 3 months like they typically would, or won't have as much readmissions or things like that. So and that's how I know Canada is way more like again, we have like our healthcare is covered or whatever you want to say. But I think we definitely want to focus on like a value-based contract with insurance companies moving forward because and really shift. I think I'm gonna work to get insurance companies to want to focus on preventative health because they don't. They kind of want you. They want you sick enough, but that you're not costing them money. It's a very interesting thing. So I uh, I don't know if I'm rambling here, but it's um it's been very interesting figuring out, how we're going to grow because right now we're clinic based and we definitely want to go more insurance based.
So the individual person who's interested can't join your platform as a new mom. No.
No, unless
Yet.
they want to pay out of pocket. Yes,
Yeah.
exactly. So
Yet.
once we have these value-based contracts, then anyone can come and be a part of the program.
Because I can think of at least 5 people who are pregnant right now who could
Yeah.
really use your services. Yeah.
That's what everyone keeps saying, and I can definitely share more video. Well, again, I don't know if you guys saw the videos in the comment the commercial, that's Rachel in the video. She was one of my patients and or clients, and she started off being like, I don't know what to do. I'm gonna like I'm harming this baby. It's just like 12 out of 10 anxiety to at the end of the program, she's like, I'm so excited to continue this with this little baby. I can't believe how much I've learned, and like just complete shift. It's and I'm sure everyone on this call has seen this from their clients. It's so rewarding, and you get to see a lot of little babies out of it, which is super cute too.
Yeah, that's a real gift for sure. Can you speak a little more about journaling, time blocking, and how you approach your day to prevent burnout?
Yeah, for sure. So journaling is something that saved my life because my brain does not shut off. And what I found was when I got something from my brain on a piece of paper, all of a sudden it didn't seem as ridiculous or big or annoying as I was making it in my head. So what I do in the morning is I journal. I first look through my day and I scheduled the day pretty beautifully. And then after that, I have like 15 minutes at the most of just like everything that's in my head. And I could show you, actually, I would have to go and get my book, but these are literally just like scribbles on a page sometimes. I just have to get it out of my head so that I can start my day being very clear and intentional. I have two kids. They're going to be 4 and 6 in October. And I don't know how many of you have kids on this call, but it was so annoying when people would say, they grow up really fast. And then all of a sudden they grow up really fast and you're like, oh my goodness. So I don't want to miss out on kids. I don't want to miss out on being a mom. I don't want to miss out on this business. I don't want to miss out on being a wife. So this journaling in the morning clears my head. I have 3 intentions for my business. I have time blocking specifically means I do the 30, like the 25-5 rule. So I can't remember what that's called. But every 25 minutes you do like really intentional work, and then you have 5 minutes to like stretch, move, drink water, like do 5 jumping jacks, just like move. And then go back to work the next 25 minutes. So it's like half an hour increments when I can, because a lot of my meetings are an hour. But it's like it's becoming non-negotiables. I've been burnt out so many times. 2 times is so many times, but it's too many. That it's just burnout's not worth it. And if you don't prioritize your health, well, again, we're all in this industry for a reason. When you don't prioritize your health, don't you can't live, and that is my biggest fear of like, oh. So I hope
For
that
sure.
answered.
Yeah, addressing the hustle culture, like you call it, with being more focused as opposed to being more busy.
Yeah.
That's a really important takeaway for me, and especially with the generation that's coming after us. So,
Oh, and someone put it in the chat, the Pomodoro method. Yes, that's what it is. Thank you
okay.
so, so much, Leslie.
Yeah, thank you. There's another question about getting your program approved by insurance carriers. So I'm going to ask Ken, if you, other than what Kelly's already talked about, if you want some follow-up clarifications on what Kelly's talked about it, would you put that in? Because I think we've talked about that a few times already. Here's one. Where the logo designer, where did you get help with that?
Oh, that's from someone we met. I don't know. I think so. We have a an executive assistant from India, and she had a friend. So we honestly got so lucky with him. I don't know what else to say with that.
Okay. And regarding being getting approved by insurance carriers, how long did the process take for you?
So we use pre-existing codes. So that process doesn't take very long. However, the codes are meant to be so intentionally hard to follow that most people don't do it, in my opinion. We've actually created a whole system where the codes that we're using, what like our platform tracks the time, tracks the information, tracks what needs to happen, so that it's so much easier to use the codes and be able to get fully reimbursed. Which has definitely taken years off my life. I would highly suggest not going this route personally.
Okay, thank you for clarifying that. Do you use certain platform for scheduling your day or just a day planner?
I'm old school with pen to paper with that stuff. I use my Teams. We use Microsoft Teams as a company, so all of my appointments are booked in there. And I will just like block off time in there as well. But yeah, I definitely won't. I've tried like to-do list and another platform, Monday, I think. Happy Monday, hello Monday. But I love pen to paper.
Okay. Uh, just a note here, Fiverr is a great space to find one-off project tasks and designers. Okay, thank you for that feedback. I
Great.
don't see any other questions. I'm going to just go back to the chat. I think, oh, I hope I've gotten everything. If I've missed you and you have a really, really burning question that we haven't answered, I'm sorry about that. Maybe you can email the school and we'll see if we can get Kelly to do that through email. I'm going to put my email in the chat in just a minute. But yeah, last call for questions. Is there anything else? Yeah, just a thank you in there. Love the session. Yeah,
Oh,
really,
thank you.
really needed for us in the health space for sure. But I am going to let you know. I did a draw while you were talking. So for the one-on-one consultation, and you have to be here now. So let me know if you are here. Sherry Patterson, you're the winner of the one-on-one consult. Are you here? Oh, yay. Okay, Sherry is here. So Sherry, we're going to reach out to you and connect you with Kelly on that. I have that recorded. And I am just putting in my email here. Kelly, you also mentioned, I better spell it right. You also mentioned that you were available to answer questions. Do you want to leave your contact information or would you prefer that?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I can definitely, I'll put my email. And then Kelly Carter Nutrition is what I am social media wise, because sometimes I can access that quicker. But yeah, definitely. Oh my goodness, I love supporting people. Like I've gotten so much support over the years from so many. And just giving back to this incredible community. IHN is like life changing, changed my life. Really pivotal moment. So I'm super grateful for this school and to be here today and to give some wisdom back. And my littles are coming home now. So
Okay. Well, thank you so much, Kelly. This has been a wonderful presentation. And thank you all for attending today's webinar. I hope you enjoyed it. And I think that concludes our talk today. So have a lovely day, everybody.